Carved out of the lava rock it was built to transform. The Aberdeen-Springfield Canal System irrigates 62,000 acres in some of the world's best soil for growing potatoes and beets. Its 190 miles of canals and laterals originates just downstream of Firth, Idaho, and it draws its water from the Snake River. Maintaining 190 miles of canal is no easy task. From fixing leaks to maintaining proper flows, the employees for the Aberdeen-Springfield Canal Company are like the water in their canals, always in motion. Our days begin early. After receiving daily job assignments, crews are defined and sent out into the field. There is no shortage of projects. From repairing leaks to keeping the system free of weeds, much of what they do revolves around maintaining the canals. Given enough time, water can erode anything, including the canals. Water enters the system through the river head gates, and it is the beginning of the main line. The main function of the main line is to get water from the river to the laterals, which are what actually gets water out to the end users. Our maintenance crew uses a variety of equipment and skills to keep the system running smoothly. Preventing levee collapse is an obvious important business, and leaks are usually the root cause. When a leak is noticed, the maintenance crew will identify the problem area, determine what needs to be done, and proceed accordingly. Many leaks are fixed by using an excavator to dig down into the levee and expose the route the water is taking. Once that is known, fill material is brought in and packed into the trouble area. Once the leak is stopped, the area is smoothed over like nothing ever happened. In the early years, shovels, elbow grease, and dynamite were the tools of choice. Today, heavy machinery and technology has made everyone's job a little easier. Keeping everyone safe when heavy equipment is being used is very important, and having someone with the ability to train new employees is also important. J.R. Zizweda has been with the Canal Company for 6 years and often helps train new employees on equipment use.
We're always learning, and that's one thing that I think where my patience comes in to play with helping these guys out. We're always learning. I'm not the guy with the answers. You know, we're all going to learn from each other, and by learning is experience from others.
Over the years, many miles of lateral canals have been added to the system. Having access to the canals is vital on behalf of maintaining them. So periodically, the maintenance crew builds roads on the laterals so the machinery has access for repair, replacing head gates, and other work that may need done. This year, they built an access road on J-Lateral. 160 truckloads of dirt was brought in from the company's Big Fill Reservoir property, where dirt had been stored for just such a use. It took a crew of 5, 4 trucks hauling material, and 1 person running a bulldozer 3 weeks to build up the levee and make it possible to drive on. Flowering rush is an invasive plant and it loves the canals. It grows fast and it grows dense. Flowering rush and other plants cause problems by restricting water flow, and left unchecked can lead to water backing up and eventually overtopping the banks. To keep this from happening, they use a specially made weed rake attached to an excavator. It's called the Aquatic Vegetation Rake, or AVR. This tool is able to pivot in multiple directions and provides an effective and efficient way to rid the canal of weed buildup. This tool has proven to be a big time saver. Silt also builds up in the canal and can cause water to back up. Again, excavators are used to scoop out silt where it is set aside and used as fill or road building material later. The maintenance crew also builds head gates, weirs, and checks, all important pieces in making sure the water gets to where it needs to go. Everywhere a lateral takes off the main line, there's a head gate. Head gates are how we control the amount of water entering a lateral. There are over 500 head gates on the system, delivering water to about 450 water users. There are also check gates on the system. Check gates raise the water level in the canal upstream, which allows a stable water level in the canal to maintain deliveries. Checks are also used to move water into storage reservoirs, which help maintain flows in the low-line and high-line canals. This storage water comes in handy when the canals are running full and demand increases downstream of the reservoirs. Weirs, or measuring devices, help measure water flowing down the canals and through the head gates. The maintenance crew builds and does major repairs to the head gates and the check gates, but it is the group we respectfully call the ditch riders who are responsible for adjusting and keeping them free of obstructions. Weeds are constantly flowing down the canals. Without ditch riders constantly cleaning weed screens, head and check gates would get plugged, water would back up, banks would overflow, and no one would get home on time. Keeping head and check gates clear and flowing is one of the many important jobs ditch riders do. Ditch riders are basically the eyes of the canal. Their constant presence enables them to spot leaks and seeps and communicate their findings with the maintenance crew and get the problem dealt with before it becomes a bigger issue. Another is keeping the levees mowed and safe for travel. Without their constant mowing, it would be impossible for others to safely access the 190 miles of canals and laterals we have on the system. Keeping the levees mowed also reduces damage to vehicles, as it enables drivers to see and avoid potential hazards like rocks, sinkholes, and headgates. R.J. Zamora has been mowing for 3 years and describes what he likes most about his job.
Everything. I enjoy working on the water and seeing wildlife and being outdoors every day. That's my main thing, is I like being outdoors. I'm an outdoorsy kind of guy. Every day is a new day. That's the big thing. I enjoy coming to work every day. I look forward to coming to work on Mondays. A lot of people can't say that, but I do. I love my job.
Noxious weeds are a constant problem. While ditch riders also spray noxious weeds and help keep them in check, the maintenance crew runs the larger sprayers. Technology also plays a role in helping determine water quality and measuring stream flow. To measure how much water is flowing down the canal at any given time, an acoustic Doppler current profiler is used. It works by sending a sound wave back and forth off the bottom of the canal as it is guided from one side to the other. The frequency of the wave will increase or decrease depending upon whether the wave is going or coming. It's that change in frequency that helps determine how much water is flowing down the canal. What is in the water is also important information for us. We test the water regularly to look for coliform, E. coli, and fecal coliform bacteria. If we find high levels of any of these, we return 24 hours later and test again. We have never seen high levels of any of these bacteria remain for more than 24 hours. To help us determine flow capacity and transmission loss rates in different parts of the canal, we use LIDAR. LIDAR is a detection system which works on the principle of radar, but uses light from a laser. This helps us develop accurate three-dimensional measurements of the canals and banks. We use that capacity modeling information for determining flow capacities in different parts of the canal and determining loss rates. In some sections of the system where loss rates are high, liners are installed. To date, we've installed about 2.5 miles of liner, decreasing our loss by nearly 40,000 acre-feet per year. Not all the work we do is in the field. Our office staff plays a vital role in making sure everyone gets paid, managing water deliveries, accounting for water use, and helps with mapping and archiving of documents. Most importantly, however, they deal with the complicated world of water right transfer processing. Most real estate transactions are fairly straightforward. However, when someone wants to sell land where water rights are tied to the land, things get a little more complicated. Historically, this job was much simpler as well. For the first 70 years of the company, it was performed by a single person. But today, with modern mapping technology and much more stringent legal requirements, we need a staff of 3 just to keep up.
And so with the water right transfer process, it's complicated because we have a lot of information that we have to acquire all up front before we can start the process.
One of the first steps, and often the most complicated, is determining if the destination property for transfer of water rights is within the canal company's boundaries. This requires mapping and often some engineering to determine whether or not the canals that serve that destination property are sufficiently sized. Everyone from the mechanic, keeping all our machinery running, to the IT manager who makes sure our SCADA system and communications are operating correctly, are vital to making sure our shareholders get their water. There are 22 employees working for the Aberdeen-Springfield Canal Company. We value each and every one of them and the important contribution they all make to our company. Hi, I'm Steve Hauser, the General Manager and Water Master of Aberdeen-Springfield Canal Company. Most of the folks you've just seen have been with the company for over a decade, and some for more than 2. I would like to express my sincere gratitude for their dedication to what is often a thankless and invisible job. These folks don't work as hard as they do, often working all hours of the day and night to keep the water running because the pay is great. They do it because they understand that all of our water users depend on them to keep the water running. Thank you.